I'm sure you've been told to do something like your life depended on it. Well, this baseball team was doing exactly that. You see, the Wyoming State Penitentiary All-Stars was made up of inmates, some from death row, playing under the conditions that they would live so long as they kept winning. A chance to commute their sentence. They were literally playing because their life depended on it. In 1901, the Wyoming State Penitentiary opened in Rawlins, Wyoming, a particularly ruthless town when it came to crime. For example, George Parrott killed 2 deputy sheriffs in a train robbery. For his crimes, he was lynched, and shoes were made from his skin. For the new penitentiary itself, it was described to be of the Dark Ages and merciless. Otto Graham was over the penitentiary and sought to profit at the expense of the incarcerated. A broom factory was established and would net Graham around $250,000, or about $8.7 million today, across an 8-year span, all while prisoners were on the edge of starvation. In early 1911, this practice was banned in the state of Wyoming, and Graham stepped down from his role. Sheriff Felix Alston was named the penitentiary's new warden, taking a more compassionate approach to the incarcerated. He built reforms that would include prisoners in jobs such as building roads and a chance to exercise, a massive change as many prisoners didn't even see daylight for around 10 years due to the very strict and cruel environment created by the previous warden. One reform that was built was an inmate baseball team. Alston presented the idea to Governor Joseph Carey. Carey, seeing the potential for profit in this idea, gave the green light and treated the team like proper athletes. The All-Stars played their first game on July 18, 1911 against the Wyoming Supply Company Juniors, a local company that was willing to play the inmates, and one that was touted to be the best around. With 12 inmates on the roster, 3 of the players were rapists, 1 was a forger, 5 were thieves, and 3 were murderers. Knowing what was at stake, the All-Stars blew the Juniors out of the water in an 11-1 victory. Newspapers from across the United States covered the team with headlines such as "Slayer scores home runs." People were stunned that a group of low-life conmen could put together a winning effort. The game itself wasn't the only noteworthy portion of the event. Newspapers also commented on the class of the players. The Carbon County Journal wrote, quote, "Joseph Singh, who was convicted of murder in the first degree and sentenced to death, played a classy game all the way through. He will petition the governor to commute his sentence to life imprisonment sometime this month." Things seemed promising with their second victory. Then they had their third. As the fourth game came and went with a 15-10 victory, they played not knowing that this game would be their last. Accusations of illegal gambling and betting were thrown around, with the main whistleblower being Otto Graham. Remember him? Graham's former informant, now guard at the penitentiary, said that the team captain, George Sabin, was involved in those bets around town. Despite being incarcerated for murder, his status allowed Sabin outside of the prison where he could visit local saloons. Here, he would organize these bets and claim around 20% on those that bet on him and his team. Another reason for dissolving the team was the favoritism and threats towards the players. Joseph Singh was able to obtain a stay of execution for his role on the team. On the day he was originally set to be executed, another inmate had Singh in his sights and dropped a bag of sand down several flights of stairs, missing Singh by only a few inches. Following the incident, Alston responded with tighter security. Governor Joseph Carey later passed a statewide crackdown on gambling, likely deflecting the rumors that state officials were taking part in the betting in these games. Alston pulled funding for the baseball team and put it towards education for inmates. The players that were on the team were back to completing their sentences, including those who were on death row. Joseph Singh, who despite appealing for life imprisonment, was executed on May 12, 1912 by hanging. The Carbon County Journal, who wrote a rather favorable review before, gave a different kind of compliment, saying, quote, "His steps were steady, and he went to his death in a manner which stamped him as a brave man," end quote.